Welcome, Pullin fans. It is Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central Time. Time for Outlawed Live. And as you can see the poster on the screen there, that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. 10 days away from the last weekend of the pulling season. Draggin Pullin in the Pines in Lufkin, Texas, the 17th and 18th of October. I am pumped. Mike, how's it going, buddy?
Well, you bummed me out a little bit, Ron, because I had it in my, discombobulated brain that pull, it was pull week. In my mind, it wasn't 10 days away. It was 4 days away. It was this weekend. And then I looked down at my calendar and I realized, no, we still have one weekend in between. So it's not quite go time just yet. But yeah, it's been a while. I'm ready for outlaw truck and tractor pulling. I'm ready to see another pull, ready to see how things are going to shake down and conclude this point season. But 10 days away, it'll be worth the wait.
Super excited. We've got Ronnie Kelly, one half of the promoter team down there at Draggin Pullin in the Pines. He's going to come on tonight. We also have modified four-wheel drive champion Murray Thornton coming on tonight as well. Big night. We're going to be talking about this pull coming up here the next couple shows, and I dare to say the next 3 shows, because on that third show we're going to be talking about it, post
and analyzing the results
right,
and seeing, where that dust settles, and not only the individual pullers and how they did, but the point season coming to a true terminus at that point. Already seeing some interesting names on the app. We're 10 days out and we're already seeing pullers all the way from California that have registered and making their way. So there's going to be a lot to talk about. Going to be a lot of eyeballs on the Outlaws that weekend. Not a lot of the other pulling going on, especially at the national level. So it's going to be a big deal down there.
Yeah, huge pull. Of course, it's a huge veteran-themed event. 100% of the proceeds go to the Wyakin Foundation and Mission 22. Those are both veteran organizations. Mission 22, for example, we've talked about this numerous times on the show. 22 veterans a day on average commit suicide, and their mission is to stamp it out, stop it, reduce it, stop it altogether. I'm on my Mission 22 challenge. Mike, I think I've got about 700 push-ups in. I'm a little behind, but 2,200 push-ups in 10 days, or no, I'm sorry, 2,200 push-ups in 22 days was my mission. And to finish up down there on the track in Lufkin, Texas. So I'm a little sore. Push-ups to be doing.
I imagine that was a big, but you say you're a little behind, but there is time to make that up. So, but it's going to a great cause. I was just sitting here thinking, it's been Mission 22. I think I've been coming on this show 2 or 3 years now, around this time of year, promoting this or hearing you promote it. I look forward to the day where we come on here and it's Mission 15, and then it's Mission 10, and then it's Mission 2, and get that number all the way down. You talk about it stands for on average 22 veterans a day. I'm a firm believer that if we keep putting the right foot forward, that number can decrease, and eventually it'll be Mission 0. And that's where we want to see that be.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be awesome for them to have to change the name as that average goes down. So there's so much to see down there. If you're just a gearhead in general, you like semi trucks, you like car shows, you like music, country music in particular. I think they've added some things this year, a burnout competition. So you're going to have semi trucks doing burnouts, a tug of war. And of course, Friday and Saturday night, both nights, is the Outlaw Truck and Tractor Pull. Just keeps getting bigger every year. They keep putting more bleachers in. The fans keep filling them up. It's super cool to see this event just grow and grow and grow. Mike, I'm so pumped. To get to some of the comments here, Dick Blankspore, of course, watching from Inwood, Iowa. Thanks for watching, Dick. As always, one of our super fans out there. Derek Brown says we need to mention more pro stock 4x4s to come. We already have 3 signed up. Now, I've heard that green Chevy from Green City might come down and play.
I have a funny story about that. I have an interesting Keith Hammond's story. So by some unique set of circumstances, I found myself announcing an antique and brush pull this weekend. Hey, pulling's fun, whatever. I'm glad to help out. And I'm flipping through my notes because I'm going to treat it just like an outlaw show. And, they've got classes I'm not familiar with, hot, stock, pro, street, such and such and whatever. And I'm flipping through and I see Keith Hammonds, Novinger, Missouri. And I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. We have something that I'm not aware of here. Does he have a little something sitting in the trailer I don't know about? So I called him. I said, are you pulling tonight? Keith's like, no, I'm sitting at home. I said, well, I'm down here in Fulton. I'm looking at my sign-up sheet. It says Keith Hammonds, the agitator, Novinger, Missouri. That's just right outside of, Green City, Unionville, where you powwow around at. And he says, oh, yeah, that's Dad. I always forget that Keith, is one of two. So, yeah, don't be surprised, I guess. You might see the name Keith Hammonds pop up just about anywhere, because caught me off guard. And Papa Hammonds, where he kind of learned it all from, went and put his truck on display this weekend in Central Missouri.
Of course, the Pro Stock 4x4s are it's not a points hook.
Yep.
It is outlaw payout, but it's not a points hook. Same with Texas Hot Farm, which is really close to our 8,500 light limited pros. They'll be there. Pro Stock, super modified two-wheel drive, modified tractors, and limited pro diesel pickups all finish the season down there. So for those 4 classes, they have 2 hooks left. Some of those classes are not in the bag yet for some of those leaders in points, Mike. So we'll crown some champions in Texas here in 11 nights from tonight.
Yeah, I'm kind of trying to think. It seems like it's been a while since we've done our kind of points breakdown on the show, Ron. And, the 3.0 diesel pickups, we got a pretty good idea where we think that's going to shake out, but that one's not done. I'm kind of trying to look at which classes we think are still viable to have it come down to that final hook. Where were the modifieds sitting at? Were they still kind of?
It's not 16. In the bag for Petch yet. There's a 16-point difference.
Yep.
But I think as long as they go down the track Friday night and Saturday night, they should wrap
Pro Stock tractors looks to be the 10,000-pound Pro Stock looks to maybe be. So for the casual fans tuning in, if we have any full pull live watchers out there that haven't watched a lot of Outlaws, and you're kind of saying, what's the story we need to be watching? Pro Stock tractors, definitely. There's some untying of a knot that needs to be done between the Wagers there tied at number 1 and Cody Yark looking for a 3-peat. So that one's far from over. So that's going to be one of the developing stories down there.
Yeah. Of course, Wagers rookies this year tied for first and second. Caden and his dad, Lacey, Cody Yark, 6 points back. That's fully achievable there.
That's doable. And Cody has had that track down there his past 2 years. It's been kind of a Dr. Jekyll or a Mr. Hyde for him. 2 years ago, he made the internet for all the wrong reasons. Last year, he had the huge win, kind of tamed that track down there. So we know that can kind of go one of two ways for him, but he has tamed the beast. So, they're going to have to be on their A game.
The Wampus Cat, not much further back, Mike.
Yeah, not mathematically. 11 points. Yeah. What a story that would be. We've talked about the Wagers all season long, and we've talked about Yorick, looking for the 3-peat. And right there, Wampus Cat's really quietly had a nice season with a couple of wins to his credit. Ron, how wild would that be? We sit here the following Tuesday after Draggin Pullin, and we're looking at Greg Jaeger, coming out on that would make for an interesting narrative. So pay attention, folks. There's only one way we're going to find out.
We'd have to get him on the show, Mike. For sure. Kevin Davis watching. Of course, Kevin Davis of the Wayne County Fair in Wayne, Nebraska. Doug Both, Zook Fukerberg. Cams for the Griffin have shipped. Should be here Friday. Wish us luck. Why does it always come down to the wire, Doug, with the Griffin?
He likes staying up late, on those, Thursday night before a Friday pull down there in Texas. He's getting awful good at that.
Always under the gun, it seems like. I think they were wrenching on it when the sun was coming up on the Friday of last year's Draggin Pullin.
I remember that. Now, it's worth mentioning, and I haven't brought this up, but he told me he was in Unionville, Missouri, and he said they brought the tractor up to the Unionville and Buckner 2-day show, but they found some timing issues with it. But it was in Iowa that actually taken it up to Wayne's shop up there, but it was to be ran, and they just found some stuff that was way out of left field, way off, not the way they wanted it. So wasn't able to go down the track. But so it's not for lack of trying. It's not like it's been in the shed all year. They've been out trying to make this thing happen.
Yeah, I think and Wayne has been pretty generous to Doug as far as sharing his expertise and letting Doug bring the tractor over, and because Wayne's been all through that engine, inside and out many times, so he knows it like the back of his hand, and a lot of expertise on those old aircraft engines anyway. So he has a lot of knowledge there on those power plants. So hopefully he gets that one done. We want to see it Definitely. On the app and ready to pull down there. Said camshaft issues is what kept him. I talked to him at I think Unionville, and they were trying to make it, and the camshaft issue kind of popped up on him there when he had it at Wayne's shop. They didn't realize it was the cam issue till then. So Cole Lundahl checking in from Wakefield, Nebraska. Thanks everyone for tuning in tonight. Big show coming up. Draggin Pullin the Pines 2025. We look at the flyer here once again, Mike. You see there the burnout contest and a truck tug of war. Those are new. Those are new this year. I don't think they've done that in the past. But that big truck burnout contest, that's going to be interesting.
Have you seen some of those big tug of wars that they do down at those like Alabama mud farms and stuff like that, where they'll hook those mega trucks, hitch to hitch and try to go left or right? Where I'm going with this, I'm sure I saw it on Beer Money. Where else would you see something? Did you see the tractor? Someone took a pulling tractor, a multi-$1,000 pulling tractor, 466 class or something, and hooked it hitch to hitch to one of those mega trucks on a concrete pad and did the tug of war with it, and just smoke rolling off the tires back. It was the craziest thing I'd ever seen. Had you seen that video?
I have not.
It's interesting. It's a little different than what you're accustomed to seeing your pulling tractor pulling. So
yeah, I've seen some of those tug of wars on YouTube and such, and not down on them or anything, but they don't look like the safest things going.
It does make you hold your breath in more ways than one between the spectators and just how, so, but hey, we know where our stuff's going to be.
Shouldn't be anybody standing within a foot or two of a truck with tires taller than you playing tug of war with another truck. That's kind of insane in my opinion. Looks fun, but looks very dangerous. Lori Bauer checking in. I'm sure she probably wants us to mention if you're going to the banquet, get those rooms booked at Margaritaville for the Outlaw banquet, the big party at the end of the season. Going to crown all those points champions, all those Organics Midwest sweep winners there next month, and that's going to be right up on us before you know it. It seemed like it was such a big break between Spencer and this poll, and now here it is. It's next week.
Yeah.
So the banquet will be here before you know it. So get your rooms booked. That's the weekend prior to Thanksgiving. Also, I'm not sure, it may be too late, but you still try to get in there on the website if you're a puller with the Outlaws, if you work with the Outlaws, and somebody that's going to go to college, whether it be first time or continuing education. There are scholarship funds that are available. And you need to go to the Outlaw Pulling website to apply for those. So Zuckerberg's, so it hasn't been to full potential since I put turbos on it. Should be fun. Of course, he's talking about the Griffin Growl. Since they puts twin turbos on last year at this pull was where he debuted it with the turbos. And of course, it was set up very safe.
Yeah.
Was very rich. They start to lean it out, start to add some horsepower to it, open it up a little bit. Hopefully we'll get to see what this thing can do. So that's what he's speaking to there. Chris Kilbarger from Ohio checking in. Had a two-wheel drive changing a supercharger 2 hours before the pull.
Oh, yeah.
They were ready by pull time. Yeah, it helps to have good friends around you and people that know what they're doing too, to help you out on that stuff. So
yeah, definitely not singling out Doug. It's not uncommon at all in the pulling world to see anybody wrench. I've heard stories about people swapping motors in the toter, between pulls before. I don't remember if they said the Connies did that one time, or the Lustig some long ago NTPA story I heard that, and it's kind of one of those urban myths and legends, but supposedly they're out there, riding in the back of the semi and swapping things out. That's motorsports,
Oh, yeah. You see it in the staging lanes, guys are prepping their trucks or their tractor to go, and something happens in the staging lanes. You know, it happens all the time. So without further ado, looks like we've got Ronnie Kelly here. Looks like he's in transport, headed to or from somewhere.
Trucking.
So we're gonna go ahead and bring him on here for Draggin Pullin in the Pines. Ronnie Kelly, what's up, buddy?
I'm incognito tonight.
Incognito.
Yeah.
Off work, heading to the gym.
Actually, neither one. Just had a little dinner with my dad this evening, so just coming back from dinner. Yes, sir.
Good deal. So we were just talking about the flyer, how it had the burnout contest and the tug of war. Are these new competitions added for this year?
Yes, sir. We added a couple new things this year. I know a couple years ago we had the loaded pools, which everybody really loved. And just because of track regulations, we're not able to have those anymore. So we're trying to bring something back to kind of bring more interest. And we thought this would be a good idea. So this is our first year for the burnout contest and also for the tug of war. So it's going to be fun and a new learning experience for sure.
So you'll still have truck drag racing, just not the loaded drag racing.
Correct. Yes, sir. We're supposed to have a pretty good turnout. I think we're right around 20-25 right now. And there'll be some more, I'm sure, that'll add the day of the race. So it ought to be pretty good.
Of course, the car show, the truck show, the concert. You got a big concert on Friday night. And, of course,
yes,
the
sir.
tractor pull. That's what we're coming for is the Outlaw Truck and Tractor Pull.
We're coming from that Outlaw. That Outlaw Pulling Association has been a really good add-on for us. Y'all do a great job. The community really loves it. And, you know, other than the loaded pools, everybody shows up for the Outlaws.
Yeah. You brought in, what, 2 new sets of bleachers last year, and the people just filled them right up both nights.
Yes, sir. They packed them. That's for sure.
How much has the whole event grown? I was talking to a sled operator here in central Missouri, and he knew quite a bit about your event. He said it's grown immensely since its inception. How much has it grown since day one? And then how much bigger did it grow once the tractor pull kind of jumped on and co-sanctioned along with it?
So, you know, the first year, which was, 11 years ago now, it was just a grand opening for Josh, East Texas Truck Center, and a customer appreciation for us, Kelly's Truck Parts. So we had 50 trucks back behind Josh's location. And all we did, we had some, we actually cooked ourselves. We didn't have any food vendors or anything like that, and it was just a truck show. So from that to now, which each year we gain something each year. You know, the very next year we went to the racetrack and we had drag races, and then the year after that we included that's when we started the tractor pulling. Was about 3 to 4 years in, and I think we had probably 4 pullers and you know, then we would do a open class, which just anybody that wanted to come pull can pull. So we had a little 76 model F250s, you know, pulling and a little bit of everything. And now we're at 2 full nights of full pulls.
Yeah. Yep. Lots of,
it's crazy.
We've already got 6-7 classes now running there. We've got pullers coming from California, Kentucky, Illinois, coming from all over the country now to this pull. The word's getting out around the country that this is a big deal. This is a super stock diesel 4-wheel drives. I forgot to mention we added those for this year too. We did have one of those trucks there last year that made an exhibition pass. So we're looking to have a handful of those trucks there this year as well. So Mike, Ronnie, Mike has never been there. Mike's my co-host here on the show, and he's
wow. How come he's never been there?
I mean, can you imagine he's going to miss the biggest show of the year?
The biggest show of the year. Everybody that comes one time wants to come back for the rest of their life, Mike. Yeah. Why?
Well, so I've never even been to the state of Texas, so it's a conflict. I got my real job, and I'm emceeing a wedding that weekend too, which is not something I typically do. But when one of your best buddies and, you know, cousins in the family's getting married, hopefully you only get married once, so I better be around for that one. But, no, the whole world is really starting to recognize the Draggin Pullin in the Pines. It's turning into what, you know, in the pulling world we call a destination pull. I think the October date, with it being down south in Texas, good weather is going to help it out a lot. not a lot of other pulling going on. So a lot of people tuning into the live stream. But the pullers, Ron, up here in the Midwest, they haven't pulled in about a month. They're getting that bug. They're getting that itch. And so even outside the outlaw guys, like you said, the California guys, the Kentucky guys, we've seen some Illinois pullers come down that don't always pull with us. It's a great place for them to go scratch that itch and kind of see what their iron still has kind of before they go into the off season. But it's turning into a destination pull. I know I've live streamed it the past 2 years. The crowds have been unbelievable. Seems like Texas always gets huge crowds for pulling. But no, we're going to have to fix it. I'm going to have to make my way down there at some point.
They definitely love y'all coming down. That is for sure.
Mike, I think it was either the first or second year that I went down there, and I was meeting with Ronnie and Josh about something, and Ronnie's phone was just lighting up, and he answered, and it was the Texas State Highway Patrol.
Okay.
Said, you got a problem out here. We got traffic stopped on main highway trying to get in there, and there was a bridge out, so everything was bottlenecked. So you got people parking on the shoulder. We're going to have to fine you for this. And Ronnie said, well, I guess you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, that is true. We've kind of addressed that a little bit, and it's got a little bit better with getting the people in the doors and stuff. We made some more parking out back, so which we had to definitely do, or heck, they would have been parked up 5 miles back if we didn't do anything to it. So.
Yeah, a few years ago, the guys got dozers out there and took some trees out and made some more pit space, some more RV space. And how you looking on RV spots there? You getting pretty filled up?
It's even better this year. They've even made more room. Y'all not even going to recognize the place this year. Well, which Mike won't know anything about that, but you would, Ron. So they've done some incredible cleaning up this year. So it's going to be unrecognizable. And it's definitely benefiting us. We'll have more room for RVs, more room for the tractor pullers to park. It's going to be a great weekend for sure.
Awesome.
As you manage the land and it grows and it expands, because this is something I've heard other pullers kind of rumor about. What about a 2-track setup? Are we going to keep the 1 track for as long as we can, that good intimate single show, or have you guys kind of discussed saying, hey, we could run 2 tracks down here too?
We've never addressed the 2-track part. Pine Valley's kind of been up in the air the past 3 or 4 years, so we really don't know what was going to happen. Mm-hmm. They brought on some new people this year. They plan on, which you'll notice, they've really started cleaning it up and getting it ready for the next Draggin season next year. We're actually going to be the first big show they've had all year long, so awesome. It's going to be exciting. I think the whole town is pumped up. Really think we're going to have probably the best show ever, which would be great because I think we're going to have the most pullers ever. So it's really going to be a great weekend.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I did see where they had made some improvements there. They added some brand new lighting there.
Yes, sir.
The pit area, which would be where your truck and car show is going to be and everything. So that's awesome. That's awesome to have. Yeah, it did seem like it was up in the air. You were talking about moving it to Nacogdoches, Texas, and end up coming back there. So it's good to see that they're working with you on this at this facility and making this thing happen. And talk a little bit about what this pull and this event benefits, Ronnie.
So we benefit 2 organizations. It's the Wankin Warrior and also Mission 22. The first year we done the show, I think we ended up donating like $2,500 to Wankin Warrior. And, over the 11 years, we're over $500,000 donation. It's been great. Our sponsors are great. The show spectators make the donations. So any spectator that comes through the gate, all that money goes in Wankin Warrior to Mission 22. And our volunteers, they're so great. We wouldn't be able to do it for our volunteers. So it's really a great show. It's for a great cause. And, God bless everybody. I mean, it's great. And the sponsors, they step up. They really do. And they're the only reason that we can really put the show on. So we're very thankful for all our sponsors.
Ronnie, you're breaking up a little bit, but talking about the sponsors, I know last year on Saturday night, did we lose him, Mike? Are you still there, Ronnie?
He's got some ambient noise, but I don't know if he can hear us or not.
Last year on Saturday night at the pull, I had a blower belt off one of the pulling tractors that some pullers had autographed, and I brought it out on the track because BK was going to be out there auctioning some T-shirts and hats and things off from sponsors. And I gave him that blower belt and said, auction this thing off first. I don't remember what it went for, but they kept donating it back. There were companies that were buying this at the highest bid, giving it back, and they were re-auctioning it. I don't remember how many thousands of dollars you made off that blower belt alone that night. Do you remember that, Ronnie?
We ended up making $7,000 or $8,000 just off the blower belt. Seriously, I mean, they kept on donating it back.
Yeah.
I hope somebody blows a blower belt this year.
Well,
or two or three, even, you know.
I'd hate to see that happen to any puller in the middle of a points race. On the other hand, it happens. I would say if you want a blower belt, you'll probably have the blower belt before the weekend's over. We as announcers don't want to wish that on anyone, but we've been to enough pulls wrong to know that you don't typically get out of 2 nights without there being at least one on the track. So,
right, yes, sir.
And then Ronnie, I don't know if you and Josh took the challenge or not. The last time I talked to you guys, I told you I was going to do 2,200 push-ups in 22 days.
How are you doing?
I'm a little behind, I'll be honest with you.
I'm probably further behind than you are, sir.
I think I'm around 700 push-ups right now. And I timed it to where it would be 22 days, and Saturday of the pull down there would be the 22nd day, so I could finish there.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm a little behind. So my number a day has gone up since I've gotten behind, because it was just a straight 100 a day. Now I think I'm up to about 125 I have to do a day between now and then. So
I was wondering if you was going to be able to pull it off. I'm going to try to catch up with you. So I don't know, I have a lot to do, but I'm going to try to catch up with you. Really looking forward to it, though. So are we going to have to do like 200 of them come Saturday, or?
Might have to. Might have to cheat a little bit, not do full military push-ups, you know.
Well, if we could get Mike to come down, we could have him help us out, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Is this turning into something? Am I going to have to do a side hustle where Ron's at 125 a day? If I start doing 25 a day, we get him back to 100. Can I donate push-ups to Ron? You know, I can't do 100 a day, but I might be able to give you 25 a day, Ron.
I think.
Hey, Mike, since you're not coming, that's something that you could do to help us out now.
Hey, I kind of like that, you know, put me on the spot. You know, I might do 22 a day, and I'll donate them to Ron Stone to deliver them, you know, however he needs to. 22 a day for Mission 22.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, and of course, Ronnie, we'll have Full Pull Live, the official live streaming channel of the Outlaws. We'll be live streaming to the world. So Lufkin, Texas, Draggin Pullin in the Pines will be front and center on TV sets and big screens all around the world next Friday and Saturday night. So I feel it too. I feel like this is going to be the biggest one yet. We say that every year, and it happens. And you know, Mike was talking about potentially 2 tracks. I've mentioned that before, that eventually I could keep growing. I could see this going to a 2-track event. You know, side by side, 2 sleds. You know, we keep getting those crowds pumped up and getting more butts in the seats out there. I think we could do that. But
we probably have enough room. I don't know what we're going to do with the food vendors, but hey, whatever makes the crowd happy makes the crowd happy. So
yeah, we'll make some room. We'll make it happen. We'll concentrate on 2025 right now. So
yes, sir.
I know you got a lot of sponsors, but anybody in particular you want to thank before we let you go?
Our platinum sponsors, of course, which Rush Truck Center, Atoyak, Old Town Rig Down, Roadworks, and I'm sure I'm going to be missing some. I just off the top of my head, it's hard to think of some, but Young Energy Services, of course, they were a great sponsor last year. They stepped up and did like a double platinum last year, just, you know, right at the end. And then I think they ended up buying the belt 2 or 3 times last year during the pools. So, Morgan Young did a great job last year stepping up and helping us sponsor, and he's one of the main reasons that we were able to donate as much as we did, and he stepped back up this year and became another platinum sponsor. So it's unbelievable, the people that reach out and help, and they want to help and be volunteers. It's just great.
And don't forget Kelly's Truck Parts and East Texas Truck Center.
Yep.
I know you guys put a heck of a lot of time and your own money in this event, so we're not going to let you get out of here without mentioning those two companies. And Heather,
yeah, we cannot do it by ourselves for sure. So East Texas Truck Center, Kelly's Truck Parts, and Mad Gear Apparel. Those three right there, they really put in a lot of time, a lot of effort, and I really do. I owe a lot of thanks to every single one of them. That's for sure.
Yeah, a lot of people to thank, and I know it's hard to put you on a spot like that, but if somebody wants to get involved and become a sponsor of this event, who do they need to contact?
I guess the easiest thing to do would be contact me. So, Ronnie at kellystruckparts.com, that will get to me, and we can definitely put them on the board for next year. We probably even squeeze them in for this year. We can always use some more sponsors. So, yes, sir, definitely.
And it's a great cause. It's for our veterans, and it's my favorite events to go to are veteran-themed events. I'm very patriotic, and I love it when you're taking care of the veterans, paying tribute to the veterans. I love it. So, you guys are doing a great job, Ronnie. Appreciate you. And we're going to see you in just like a little over a week, man. I should be down there.
I know it's hard to believe. It seemed like y'all were just here, Ron.
I know it, but I'm excited. This is one of my favorites. So, Ronnie, thanks for coming on. Tell Josh we said hey, and we're talking to him the next few days, and we'll see you next Thursday.
All right. Y'all have a great evening. Thank y'all.
Yep. Thank you.
See, you're feeling like you really want to go even more now, don't you?
Well, I was already there, and now it's killing me, Ron. This is one of those, and I like the way you talk about it. It has been growing. I was watching this pull before I even came on working with the Outlaws. This is one of those. This is getting a real reputation in the pulling world. It's only moving in the right direction. I mean, it's pulling in October. You get to go down south, go to Texas, and it's it just turned cold here today, and I haven't been to a pull in a month, and you're killing me, man. You're killing me.
Yeah, and the weather's always, I don't want to jinx it, but the weather's always really nice. Yep. Nicer. The low temp is maybe 60, something like that. So, yeah, it's really nice. So, if you're not going this year, make plans to go next year. One of the best motorsports events in the country goes on in October down in Lufkin, Texas. And if you want to sponsor, Ronnie at Kelly's Truck Parts, Ronnie at kellystruckparts.com. You can become a part of this event. 100% of the proceeds go to the Wyatt Foundation and Mission 22. So now that we've got that, and we're going to be talking about this pull, even more tonight. We're going to be talking about it more next week. I hope to get the guys on again next week, along with some other guests. But we want to bring on one of our champions from 2025. Sure. I think this is the 4th championship for this truck. If my math is correct, I recollect this correctly, Murray Thornton. Well, we got him on here now. Did you already bring him on? There he is.
There he is.
Hey, Murray. How's it going?
There I am. How you guys tonight?
Wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. The day's over, thank goodness.
Did your phone stop ringing finally?
Yeah, it finally did. It never fails, There's nothing happens, and then somebody calls, and it's bam, bam, bam. So,
well, that means you're loved. You're loved, Murray.
Well, I'm needed, not loved.
You're needed. There you go.
There you go. Yeah.
So, tell us about your season here. Another championship. Is this 4?
This is the 4th one. We won one in 17, one in 18, one in 23, and then Ryan mopped us all last year, and then the motor wasn't running right last year either, so that was kind of another thing. And then this year they got it straightened out, and it worked really well. So back to the way it used to be, it feels like, at least. And I think it was just one of those years things just went right. You never know from year to year. You just cross your fingers and hope you get good draws and things work out. And I think, between the 3 of the trucks, we were more than satisfied with where we ended up. So,
yeah, it seemed like
a couple times on the season, I wasn't sure which of the 3. It felt like about halfway through the season we were starting to see, okay, it's going to be one of the Team Thornton trucks, but I didn't know if we were going to roll some dice or pull a name out of a hat. And I was even kind of thinking it looked like the Ramrod at one point. You might be doing 3 different trucks in 3 different years, but what did Thumper do to kind of come out on top, or is that just consistency and the chips fell your way?
That truck is always been really good. Thumper has, and Lane and Ryan, hats off to those guys, because this thing wouldn't happen without them. Believe me. I mean, it's a team deal. And so, Ramrod, we got it. It hadn't been ran for a long, long time. So there was a lot of bugs to work out, a lot of things to figure out. And, you'd think that going from one truck to the other one, it wouldn't be that much different. But boy, I tell you, and Lane did a great job with that. I mean, it was pretty consistent all year long. There's a few times when, and Thumper did it a couple times too. It just didn't finish well, but it's just part of it. You never know from night to night. And, like we went to Buckner, and, you expected the track to be the same as it was the year before, where, boy, it just launched. And then this year, you really had to drive it. It was a tough driving track, and you just don't know from year to year. And some of that carries over from one year to the other. You kind of expect, well, this is the way it'll be, when, it may or may not be. And then Unionville was way better this year than it was the year before. So, I mean, you just don't know.
It seemed like to me, and tell me if this is true, but it seemed like the second part of the season, the Thumper truck really started stretching its legs a little bit. Really seemed like it was running a lot better in the second part of the season. Did you feel that as well?
Yeah, it was really kind of, I tell you, when we pulled in Brett, I tried something a little bit different, and it just worked, and it clicked, and it just laid down the best pass I think it has probably ever made in its lifetime. And it was like, wow. And then I tried to just keep duplicating that the way I drove it at that pull, and it seemed like it really worked well. And you're right, it just, sometimes that worked, sometimes it didn't. Again, that's why we're out there poking that track so hard, is to figure out, okay, can I get it on it here, or where do I need to go? If you're lucky enough to be one of the last pullers, you can watch and see where everybody else goes. But also the track can get worn out in that one path. So you just gotta really pay attention.
Let's watch a couple hooks there. You mentioned Unionville. I think that's the first clip I got here. Let's take a look at the Unionville hook.
0.76.
All right, that was Buckner.
Yep.
So
yeah,
and you did pull on the different track. You pulled on the other track,
last
year, but you said it was different this year, huh?
Yeah, it wasn't. The other side, we pulled after the modified tractors last year on the other side, and there were some holes in that thing, and you about had to dodge them. But boy, if you got a hold of it and you missed those holes, it was flying. I think I was the first hook that night. We went 370 some odd feet, and I was like, that truck finally ran good for once. And then they reset the sled. It's like, your heart just sinks. But it had to be done, because obviously I didn't win that night, but it was Ryan, I think, ended up winning that one that year, but I was behind him in second at least. So but Unionville you had to really drive it. It was just or not Unionville, but Buckner. You really had to drive the truck. So
let's take a look at that Unionville hook here. Yeah, a little bit of driving going on there as well.
Yeah, I cross-tracked it pretty hard, because it was at the end of the track was falling apart. I was toward the end of the class, and I think Lane won that class that night. I'm pretty sure he did. Yeah.
You could literally hear the throttle back off just a little bit from the start when you started out, and then you started moving forward with the throttle again.
Yeah. Yep. It's turning into a driving class. I mean, you really just got to be patient on the throttle, and and you watch a lot of video. You watch other guys that are very successful. Probably one of the most successful ones that I watch a lot of is Jamie Bush, and watch Mark Mangan and some of those guys and how they drove, and and Jake, of course, you just watch all those guys and see how they did, and you just keep watching and seeing how they drove. So,
in announcing the modified four-wheel drive class, is the way I try to describe it to people is there's like a fine line out there, and it depends on the track, how good the track is, but you want to go full throttle as quick as you can.
Yeah.
When you have traction without making it bounce. So making all three of those things happen is kind of the secret sauce there.
Yeah. It just seems like when you take off, if you start feeling that lunge, you better be getting into the throttle, and you better be moving right along with it. So, because otherwise it'll just, it can get awfully ugly really quick. So,
we've seen that.
Yep. Yeah, it looks like, from someone, and both of you guys have driven these. I haven't, or, Ron, you've driven four-wheel drive trucks, maybe not a modified four-wheel drive truck, but it looks like you want to slip them and spin them without overpowering the track at the same time. You want to kind of get ahead of the dirt, basically, but still stay hooked up. And like Ron says, the amount of how close you are to jumping and hopping compared to, getting tardy and just burning them away. Do you feel that in the seat of your pants, or do you rely on some data as well? How do you go about just knowing where that edge is?
It's all by the feel. Every bit of it's feel, because you have nothing except for your clutch pedal and your throttle to mess with. And it's just kind of a combination of getting those two to working at the same time. And you're right, Mike, you have to, if you're feeling it in your seat, you can tell just right when it's on the edge of bouncing, and you better, like I said, you better be throttling it and getting right with it when that starts happening, because otherwise it gets real violent.
How do you know? I've always wondered this, because I'll announce this sometimes. Sometimes you'll see a bounce start to develop early. It hasn't gotten violent. And sometimes a driver, when they get that early bounce, will actually get into the throttle and essentially drive through the bounce. And then other times a savvy driver will immediately know that if they try to do that, it's going to get 10 times worse. How do you know when to get out versus when to throw even more at it? Is that just years of pulling?
Yeah, it's almost like feeling the rear end come up off the ground in a way. You can tell by the violent, or the bounce of how violent it's starting to get. And then, it's just experience, years of experience, I suppose, is probably the main thing. So, it's an evil, there's a fine line in all that. And I don't know how else you'd explain it, but there is a fine line. So, and there's some guys that, they'll sit there and they'll bounce all the way down the track. And I just sit there and shake, and then, they're not going to go very far. And then they end up kicking everybody's rear, it's just, who knows, it's whoever goes the furthest, right?
Yep. And, you talked about the violence of the ride. And so that's what a lot of people don't realize about taking a ride in one of these tractors, these trucks, is it's a violent ride. I mean, the simplest of things that will unsettle a truck, feels like you just got hit by a semi or something, I drove a truck that made half the horsepower what you're making, Murray, and I had a hub and an axle brake, and I had a hub and a rear end brake at the same time. The hub broke, the power shot the rear end, broke the rear end.
Oh yeah.
And I literally thought the sled ran into me. It was so violent. I was like, what the heck? The sled just tried to run over me, but no, it's just parts breaking, but
well, if you ever watch the sled guys like Kevin and watch Gary, if we stand back there and we're looking at the track, and I watch them guys go down that track, and they're clear up out of that seat. And I can't believe they don't hit their head on the cab of that thing, because they take a beating every night. Yeah. Well, that back window blew out in
at Unionville.
Unionville. Yeah. And it was like, wow. But those guys take a ride, and I don't know how they do it every night, but it's got to be tough, I would think. So
let's take a look at I got one more pass here. I think this is Prairie Village, Madison, South Dakota here.
350.24 the mark to beat. Here comes Thumper. Good run for Murray Thornton, hitting the rev limiter right there at the end.
I think you ended up second up there, I think, maybe.
Yep.
That's what it was.
Yeah, I think Ryan won that, didn't he?
I think
Pretty
so.
sure he did. Yeah, Ryan had a monster pass. He had times when that truck just you couldn't even get near it, and then there was times just like, what are you doing, right? But I mean, I think that and another thing is the clutches this year. The clutch material, the clutches are hard to get. The discs are right now, and they were this last year anyway. And I think that some of his issues were it wasn't the same material he'd ran the year before. I mean, that makes a huge difference in how hard they, how quickly they'll grab and all that sort of thing. And, I think he had some struggles with that this last year with some of the things. And of course, who doesn't want to get better, so you always try different things, but I think clutch was an issue this year for him than it was last year. It was just smooth as can be last year and didn't have much issues. So.
He was a little skittish for a while after the Rock Valley break from a couple of years ago when he twisted the drive line up like a pretzel, and you could see it. And when it started to bounce, he just pulled off the throttle really quick. You could tell he was, but he's gotten past it. You could tell it's learning.
Well, I think that pull, I think there was at least 5 or 6 that broke drive lines that night.
Yeah,
and it was
There was a couple that broke at Buckner last year.
Yeah.
On that track we were talking about. But Chris Kilbarger from Ohio, he's a puller from Ohio, says, congratulations, Murray.
Thank you.
And Mark Ham saying hello from South Dakota.
Thank you.
Of course, you see the FOMO on there. So,
yeah, it was nice to get to know him some this year, talking to him, and pretty cool he's a great guy to talk to. It's just, and we appreciate his photos and all that. There's so many good things and so many good people that are behind the scenes that never get any praise whatsoever, and just even thinking of the track officials and those guys, they put in a lot of hours. They're working their butts off trying to make a show go, and
they take some heat sometimes too,
They do. They do.
They're the referees of the sport. I always try to say, you need to realize these are the guys. They're throwing the reds and making the calls. I mean, they're the umpires, And so
and they really do a good job. I mean, you can get frustrated with them, but you got to remember they're just like everybody else, and they're most of the time they get it right. I mean, I would say 98% of the time.
It's funny how much of an impact that pullers or people in the public can make without even realize that they're making an impact, and how many people are watching them and looking up to them. So I got a kid, he's in first grade, and it was dress up day at school. They're supposed to dress up, someone they looked up to or what they wanted to be when they grew up or something. And, Dad's an announcer, and he thinks Ron's even cooler than Dad, and of course, he thinks you pullers are the greatest thing ever. So I thought, okay, he's going to want to dress up. He went to school as a flagman. He said that the people he looks up to at the pulling track, he wants to be a flag waver. So those tech officials, they're an unsung job, but it's amazing how many. You never know who's going to be watching you and what eyes are going to be on you. And we've got some of the best out there with our tech crew.
Yeah, you do. Absolutely, those guys. They put out a lot of effort, that's for sure, to try to make it right. So, So
Derek Brown checking in. Says you're good at pulling. He just tries to get down the track, but these last couple of hooks were pretty darn good. He's starting to put it together.
Yeah, Derek's making huge strides, and Derek's going to be out there. So that's the thing that I really like. We all, kind of have that camaraderie amongst ourselves, and it's just fun. We just, you look forward to the pull, but boy, you look forward to the, seeing your friends that you've been hanging around and pulling with. And I don't, we have no hard feelings toward any of them. They're all all good competitors, and we enjoy being around them. So for sure.
It's interesting. I was just kind of scrolling some of the results. Yours is one of the classes where, not every last person, but the majority of everyone who ran for points this year, off the top of my head, I'd say almost everybody picked up a win at least once too.
Yeah.
So you talk about everyone kind of mingling together. And of course, your team really pulled out ahead, but that didn't mean that it was in the bag every single night. I can, looking down here, Doug and Dustin, of course, each got a win, and Josh picked up a win. And I was thinking, if Derek doesn't have a win yet, like you said, it's coming soon because he's knocking on the door. He's right there.
Yeah, he had, I think the last poll of the year, he ended up second, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think you're right.
And Spencer, and he had a good pass. And or not Spencer, excuse me, it was Bedford is the last one he went to, and he had a real good pass. He got out in front of me, so he did very well, and he's learned. It's not something that comes overnight by any means. So
yeah, he's coming on. I missed a lot of comments here. We'll get back to them here because some of them go back a little ways. But anybody you want to thank, Murray, could be sponsors, friends, family, engine builders, anybody you want to thank.
Well, Lane and Ryan, like I said, if it wasn't for those two guys, I wouldn't be able to do all this, because this last year has been a phenomenal year for my business, and I just can't be doing a lot of the stuff that needs to get done. And they pick up all the slack, and can't say enough about what they do. And then also, we run Sonny's Motors. They've been real good. We need anything, they get us taken care of. And we have Mark Korth. He cuts our tires, so he does a real good job and keeps us in line there. So most of all, I'd like to thank Jesus. He's my Savior and most important man in my life. So he keeps me on the straight and narrow, and keeps my life in order where it should be. So yeah.
Good to hear. Yeah. Would you ever go to Texas and pull in Lufkin in October, Murray?
Well, we're planning on going. We'd like to, but we're planning on going to Louisville, and so the motors are already out in Virginia getting redone. So
getting them freshened up.
Yeah, we got you got a timeline. We got home, and there again, there's Lane and Ryan. Next day, they're yanking the motors out, getting them ready to go, and Courier comes and hauls all three of them at once. So it worked out well. And
now, like last year, your team, if I remember right, you got 2 trucks in. Are you going to try to get all 3 of them in this year? Or
I think just Lane and I are going to do it. I don't think Ryan. I think Ryan's going to go along, but I don't think he's going to try to pull there. So hopefully Ritter's apply again, and they had a monster pass down there last year.
Yes, they did.
And they're not to be counted out by any means. Those guys, you get kind of jealous, because in a way we're sitting there running around like chickens with our heads cut off. And those two are out there just kind of looking at things and going through and discussing it. And we're just like, well, we're back to back again. Here we go. You don't get to share nothing. It's just like, well, get out there and get it going. So, those guys have always been very competitive, and we look forward to pulling against them. So, yeah.
How cool would it be for both of you to get in, you and Lane, at Louisville, and you guys have a few trucks between you, that second puller? I mean, how beneficial would that be, having one go down the track already?
It's that place. It's different. That's just all you can say about it. It could be a little bit of benefit, but also you can sit there and overthink it too, and so, boy, you just want to have all your ducks in a row, because all those guys there ain't no slouches there. They just all are really good, and they know they've pulled there before. And really, I guess I'd pulled there in 2018, I think, and then I pulled there last year. And it was just like, I knew it. I knew it took a lot of power, and I knew you needed to be geared down.
Yeah.
But I just didn't get on it quick enough. And so, hopefully this year, if we get in, I can make a little bit of a makeup pass, so to speak. I
Get
hope
the wagon rolling a little quicker this time. Get some.
And we talked about being on that razor's edge in that decision making in a 4-wheel drive truck. And I've talked to a lot of pullers who have pulled at Louisville, and they talk about how your decision making has to be even so much faster. You know, you got 240 feet instead of 340 feet, and that box is just racing you. And your window for your decision there, it's like you said, it's different. And that's why I think the modified 4-wheel drive truck class on Wednesday night is one of the most overlooked classes. And if you want to watch pulling where you really watch drivers thinking about it, Wednesday night session, National Farm Machinery Show, I think it's about as good as it gets.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And, you know, Ryan, I wish that it would have at least pulled one more truck last year after he pulled, because that was a monster pass that he had, that first pass. And I just wish they had at least pulled one more, because I'm not convinced that he wouldn't have won it all. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to, because he's my nephew, doesn't mean I'm saying this because of that, but I'm saying this because I was like, that's going to be hard to beat, because he drove it perfect, and it just hooked and went. And so, but yeah, I wish they'd have pulled one more, but we don't get to make those decisions.
Yeah. Last 2 years, the Outlaw truck was first hook.
Yeah. And the sled was, you know, the reset after each of those. And like I said, we don't make those decisions, and we respect all the people that do. Right. But, you know, that is how the cookie crumbled.
Yeah, it is. You got to take it with stride. You know, it's just the way it is. So
the year before, when Joe Claypool was first hook, the sled definitely had to be reset. And Joe knew it too. He said they're trying something different with the sled. I hate it. I'm going to have to go first. Yeah. And what happened? They had to reset the sled, and then who was it? Zering come up and blasted it
through
the
bricks.
And Joe was broke. So he wasn't able to come back, but you know,
Joe had the front end, the whole front end of that truck was off the ground on Joe's. And,
I saved that picture. I posted it quite a few times.
Well, he got out of the throttle. He did opposite of Zering. He got out because he didn't want anything to do with getting in that sand and then knowing he's going to have to come back. Zering drove exactly how you'd expect either of those drivers to drive, and just heck or high water. He didn't. Told me later, he goes, I never saw that red light. He goes,
that's because he didn't look at it.
The tunnel vision. Literally.
He knew where he wanted to go.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, Murray, thanks so much for coming on tonight, buddy, taking the time out. Congratulations on another points championship. We'll be rooting you on if you get in at Louisville, and we're looking forward to next year already.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate you, Ron, and you, Michael, of all you guys do and how you promote our association. And boy, this is just growing. It's just getting better and better and better. And we just appreciate you and Kurt and all that. You know how much work they put into this thing and how great it is. So we enjoy it, and we appreciate everything you do.
We appreciate you guys as well, Murray. Have a great night, buddy. Thanks for coming on.
You too. Thank you so much.
You needed your daily dose of feel good. Murray Thornton's the type of person who will distribute that. That's a puller right there who just has his head in the right place and just stands for everything that's right in the world of pulling. That was, Ron, I just feel wholesome after that interview.
You feel good?
I do, yeah.
I have to go back here and we got to chat with Ronnie so much and getting in the conversation. I forgot all about the comments, but go back when we had Ronnie on here and Doug Bo's talking about coming down, and thanking them guys for putting on a great event. And Bowling Green Pool Party, checking in from the Dale Griffith Shower Curtain HQ. Little planes, trains, and automobiles reference there.
Oh, I'm glad you were there to explain that for me, because I did not get that.
Have you not seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Mike?
Yeah, one thing, Ron, I've learned a lot about movies ever since you and I started working together. You must be a bit of a movie aficionado, so I guess I've got to get into the world of cinema a little bit better.
That's a John Candy, Steve Martin movie. And
is that the one where they've got the old like Crown Vic and it's like melted all to heck or whatever?
I think it's a Chrysler, like LeBaron or something.
The cop pulls him over and they tell him that the radio works or whatever. I've seen snippets of it.
Jason Moon checking in. Yeah, we'd love to be back there. Yeah. Not sure what Doug was laughing at here.
That was you doing your push-ups, getting caught up. Your muscle man.
All right, I think we might be caught up now. Of course, he says you need to play hooky. And
the school I'd have no problem with. It's ducking out on my buddy's wedding. He asked me a long time ago. He said, "Can you be the man on the microphone at the wedding?" And he's a good young kid. You know, I think the world of him. So, but I will be in Texas. I'll be at Lufkin one of these days.
You know, it's funny when people find out that you're an announcer, you start getting volunteered for a lot of things, Mike.
I'm learning that a little bit more this off season than last season. Yeah, and I don't know how much overlap because I had to go talk to him. I said, "Now I'm not a DJ. I'm not am I supposed to like be telling them when the bride does this or that?" And they said, "Well, we figured you knew." I don't know. Well, hand me a microphone. I guess something will happen.
My daughter, when she was still in middle school and in high school, she got on the swim team, and they found out that I was an announcer. And lo and behold, all the home swim meets, I was the announcer on the mic announcing.
So not only in truck and tractor pulling,
right,
but high school swimming are the two.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like that's accidentally. I never knew I was going to get in the world of classic and antique pulling, but I've got some friends around here and there's just a lot of them. And suddenly everyone's calling me and saying, "Hey, can you come announce this?" And I've learned more about antique pulling in the past couple of weekends than I ever knew I'd needed or wanted to. But yeah, people say, "Here's a microphone, go do something." But I don't know, swimming, antique pulling. Well, let's stick with the Outlaws for.
Yep. All right. Well, 10 days, ladies and gentlemen. 10 days from right now, we'll be pulling in Lufkin, Texas, on the first night of competition down there, Draggin Pullin in the Pines. And if you are planning to go get an RV spot, need to call them, get a hold of them now. Yes, it can, Chris. Yes, it can. So can an antique tractor pull. So
we started at noon. We started at noon and we finished at 11 p.m. And I remember listening to you at Wisner one year, where back when they just did a Saturday session that started at like 4 p.m. or something like that. Yeah. And you had announced, you said, "Folks, we have been here for 7 hours." And I thought to myself, "Ron, I've been out here for 11 hours. So
yeah. I used to run a pulling sled, Mike, when I ran the Flint Hills truck pullers, and we would rent that sled out to antique pulls, and I ran it for 13 or 14 hours straight at an antique. It was a combination antique pull, community pull.
Yep.
And it was in the fall. 13 to 14 hours straight.
How many times did you have to add diesel fuel to it?
Didn't have to at all. But had to get out and go to the bathroom a couple times. But other than that, somebody bring me a sandwich and something to drink. But that makes for a long day sitting in a pulling sled.
Yeah.
And it had a clutch, and I literally my clutch leg, my left leg was so sore for a couple of days after. But a lot of things that go on for ESPN. Called him for log rolling. I'd do it.
Ron Stone's voice has been on ESPN.
That's true.
Because they have done the Rock Valley. Yep. They put it on the Ocho. Now, I wish it was on something other than the Ocho, but we'll take ESPN anyway. But I was actually announcing at the Pullers Championship, and I turned on ESPN in my hotel room just for some background noise, and I heard Ron Stone's voice behind me, and I thought, now what are the odds of hearing a guy that you're friends with on ESPN? And they were running a rerun of Rock Valley, where you said you actually had to go in and they didn't take your live sound. You had to re-record that, right?
Yeah. Because it had to be edited down for the time constraints of a half-hour show. So, you had to kind of bottle it all up there. So
you went there to your sound studio that you told me that you have right there in your living quarters, your professional grade.
I've recorded lots of commercials and voiceovers in the closet. So, got to have all those clothes and all that sound deadening material. That's why you do it in the closet. So.
Well, that's what you told me when I was doing some voiceovers for Beer Money Pulling. You said you're in a very live room or a very active room. You said you gotta dampen some of that, buddy. So.
Yep. Well, Mike, great show, great guests tonight.
Yeah.
Looking forward to to Draggin Pullin in the Pines. And of course, we'll be on next week. We'll bring on another champion, and I think we'll see the return of When the Smoke Clears.
Yep. The next couple waiting in the wings, and there's no point in keeping these a secret, but big thank you to Josh O'Hennessy and Emily Schaefer for both getting back to me with their biographies. So they're the ones that we have locked and loaded, just waiting on the final production with our associates in the video room over there. So once we have those, we're going to feature both those pullers. And pullers, if you want to be featured, look for a message from me. Pullers that have received a message from me, especially those of you who said, absolutely, we'll get you the biography right back in no time, get it to me when you can. We want to feature all of you out there. I was going to say hurry up and do it, but it's coming up on harvest season. I get it.
We're in harvest, buddy. We're right smack
whenever you guys can, we want to feature all of you guys because you're all rock stars.
So thanks for doing that, Mike. Thanks for being on the show with me tonight. And thanks to Murray Thornton. Thanks to Ronnie Kelly. And, of course, thanks to all the super fans out there in Outlaw Nation. Thanks for tuning in once again. We'll see you next Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Central on Outlawed Live.
Are you ready here tonight? Time points champion just a few years back, Craig Ulmer and Sweet Pain. And 86 right now, 345 and 86. Here we go with the Kentuckian. Right side kind of hurt him there. He was fighting that white line all the way down. Here tonight, going to spot that sled here a little bit left of center. They've been kind of working this spot. And I would imagine try to drive it up, just like we saw Mr. Holsworth as he got an unbelievable hole shot. He got that sled moving really quick. That's what it's going to take. So that chicken down there, he's getting a little bit, he's getting wound up.
He's getting a little cocky, I think.
Yeah.
Pun intended there. Getting a little cocky. That chicken is talking about race and the other chicken. Kurt Van Beek, the owner of the Outlaws. I can't believe he's going to do it, but here we go. Cody Yarrick, Rich Hill, Missouri, gone. Oh, man. Pulls back on the throttle, coasts the sled past the Schaefer oil barrel.
Man, oh man, fans, let's give a nice round of applause. Your winner, your points champion, everything but the kitchen sink here tonight, Cody Yarrick.
373.78 at 34 miles per hour. The Cody Yarrick had gone. That is what we call a walk-off win, ladies and gentlemen. Last puller in the class wins the thing. Awesome. We'll give you the final rundown here in just a moment.
Alcohol calls it backdraft. Of course, you remember last year, these guys, they go hard. Last year, we tore a couple trucks up here at Prairie Village.
You know, he's the first puller. He literally gets 3 attempts here. Right there, he's going to back up so he didn't break 100 foot, which everybody gets that option. But he's the first puller. If he doesn't like this next hook, this next opportunity, he can drop 6 places and come back. Now, four-wheel drive, a little tricky, especially on a sticky track. They want to get off that clutch as soon as possible, but if they get off too soon, they'll start bouncing. Good-looking pass for the Chevrolet out of Iowa. Gravity, Iowa. Ryan Thornton. Farmo of Kyle Stepanek. Top dog right now. Here comes your number 1 tractor in points. Brady Gosler out of Ute, Iowa. Spare time. Too close to call. Now look at that chicken over there. Look at it. Strutting around all cocky. Had to be. I don't know where that comes from. 0.76. .24, the mark to beat. Here comes Thumper. Good run for Murray Thornton, hitting the rev limiter right there at the end. I don't know where that comes from. I saw by his truck out there was a whole big crowd, so they don't think it's wasted money. That's right. And if you're having fun, how could it be wasted money, right? Here we go. First puller, 540 Light Pro, John Deere, at a Pipestone, Minnesota, Brad Isle. Wasted
Second
money.
time down the track. Pray for him.
Wow, good run. What a way to lead us off here in Light Pro.